All right, YouTube, what's going on out there? I haven't made a video in a little while. I made one the other day, but it was nothing extraordinary. Basically, I made a 17-minute profanity-laced tirade about the Kate Steinle murder verdict in the People's Republic of San Francisco, California, and I scrapped it for a different version of that. And I was just sick of editing it. Been under the weather a little bit, and haven't been able to produce a lot. As we all know, YouTube doesn't pay. The opposite actually happens. You end up paying with time and effort. And in return, if you ever get any momentum going, you're demonetized, which I'm not going to mess with at all. Your views are suppressed, or you're just fucking deleted. So it's basically, it's charity work. So anyway, so I haven't been producing a lot lately, but I just wanted to go ahead and say thank you to my subscribers that I do have. When things level out in my personal situation, I definitely plan on going full tilt with this. But for the time being, I've just been very busy. Diabolical plans to destroy the internet as we know it, yada, yada, yada. So I want to talk very briefly, again, what everybody else is talking about, amongst other things, is if there's not enough news to cover, which is therein lies the rub, as they say. You would need an entire newsroom of trustworthy non-Democrat contributing reporters to cover everything that's going on. It's just not going to happen. But I wanted to talk very briefly about the basic full-blown collapse of the Russian collusion narrative. And this is, if you're doing any kind of math, this is a little over a year since President Trump was legitimately elected as president of the United States. Some people, they just can't get over it. The crybullies, they won't stop. But unfortunately, fortunately for us, unfortunate for them, they don't have enough feet to shoot themselves with. I mean, it's unbelievable. They simply will not stop with this. You had this troglodyte there on The View, Joan Behart, basically, again, spreading fake news. Somebody hands her some kind of card, and I think she did some kind of backflips or somersaults or something along those lines. And basically, hole in one, Trump's going to jail and he's going to be removed from office. Turns out more fake news, and ABC anchor was Brian Ross was suspended for 4 weeks without pay. Ooh, for trying to undermine the presidency of the United States and, in my view, the actual national security of the United States. That's the key word that we're talking about here. That's what I want to get to. We are in a stage of undermining because there is no legitimate, there's no corroborating evidence, at least that has been presented to the public. We're all willing to eat crow if we're wrong, of Russian collusion. It's a total ruse. So we have the undermining of the legitimacy of the presidency of the United States. That's the phase we're in now. It looks to me like the Flynn admission of guilt is basically they had to save face for the investigation as a whole. And if the witch hunt is over, there has to be some kind of result to go ahead and say this was worth all the hullabaloo. This is what we tried to do. It was a legitimate investigation. I read a great article on Russian Insider a couple weeks ago, and it basically posited the theory that maybe the FBI director works for Donald Trump secretly. And there was a Gallup poll after this blockbuster Flynn guilty plea of lying to the FBI. So we know for a fact that Flynn is a liar. On news of that, a Gallup poll, and of course nobody trusts polls if you have any sense about you, but a Gallup poll basically had the president at about 38% approval. A huge plunge just based on this news. This is undermining. This is fake news consequence. Fortunately, it's short-lived, but it also shows that people, they lack discernment right off the bat. I've said it before, I'll say it again many, many times in future videos. The fluidity of any situation deserves a little bit of respect, and in some cases, a lot of respect. But people don't do that. They knee-jerk reaction. We're all prone to do that. But bottom line is that the undermining of the presidency has set in. It doesn't matter that the economy is doing better. Yes, I know it's a Ponzi scheme. I know all about that. You don't have to explain that to me. things could go down any day of the week. Illegal immigration enforcement has been stepped up, not to the tune of what people want. So there have definitely been some successes. My take is that Trump wants to go down in world history as the president who brought down North Korea. And that's just my take on it. And that's a very dangerous tightrope. But we have to remember, even though he's always being referred to as Hitler and this and that, this situation was not created by Donald Trump. It was actually created once again by the most destructive couple in the history of the United States. Nope, not the Rosenbergs, the Clintons. That's right. Everybody hear that again? They just keep bubbling up. It's just scum rises to the top. Those dirty diapers in the sewer, the Clintons. So this situation was not created by our commander-in-chief. But I believe that he may see it to a point. And it's not a one-sided thing. They're not some benign, they have the ability to strike most of the United States according to this latest missile test. I didn't have time to cover that. I'm talking about it now. So we have some successes. I have some certain disappointments, especially when it comes to the Saudi arms deal and foreign policy decisions. But overall, I am elated that Hillary Clinton is not in the White House. Instead, she's trampling around the country on her book tour. I don't know who would actually go to see an apology tour and pay money. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's amazing she has one single supporter, one. After all the treachery, after all the evidence has come to light, it's all misogyny, sexism, and all that bullshit. So anyway, bottom line, the Russian narrative has basically collapsed. And the investigation is basically trying to save face by taking out a couple key figures. Now, interestingly, who looks a lot like a rat, Flynn may lead to others who have information that may corroborate a larger picture. We don't know that. I got a feeling nothing's going to come out of it. That's my instinct on the subject. So full-blown collapse of the Russian collusion narrative. I mean, how the hell are you going to tie Flynn to some Facebook ads? I mean, it's such bullshit. I mean, you can't even imagine that people would actually believe in this. And the knee-jerk reaction from the media and the left is any modicum of hint of misconduct or criminal activity is going to be pounced on, whether true or not. That's how this works. So we will definitely see this fade out over the next couple months. It will not lead to the impeachment or removal of the President of the United States. And you know what? Who wants to sit here talking about this shit all the time? The bottom line is they're not going to let it go, right? The head of the FBI, I mean, he contributed to Hillary Clinton. What more do you need to know? So they're not going to let it go into the night. They're still talking about the election. And it has to be pointed out that this is basically just another frame-up to try to do anything they can to try to remove Donald Trump from the presidency. So anyway, good news on that front. I'm excited about it.